More tariffs, more fear in markets.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. On the road and at home, customers can simplify their insurance needs and protect what's important by bundling home and auto with Progressive Insurance. Learn more about Progressive and bundling at progressive.com. And by the Financial Times, whose pink pages encourage fearless thinking on American news. There's more at ft.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. President Trump over the weekend said new tariffs set to be announced this week will cover basically all countries. These are where the administration's been calling reciprocal tariffs. Global markets are down this morning, and investors here in the U.S. are worried too. Futures are pointing to a lower open. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
Whatever tariffs are announced this week, they'll come on top of other import taxes already announced on vehicles, steel and aluminum, Chinese goods, and on a portion of the trade coming from Mexico and Canada. All of this has investors worried not just about policy uncertainty, but about how many blows the U.S. economy can take. Analysts at Goldman Sachs just increased the probability of a recession over the next 12 months from 20% to 35%. That's because data is piling up, showing consumers are increasingly worried and becoming more cautious with their spending. Meanwhile, a key inflation gauge on Friday came in hotter than expected, which means prices could keep rising faster than experts want, even as the economy slows. All of this has investors fleeing for perceived safer havens, such as gold, where prices have risen at their quickest pace in nearly 40 years, and bonds, where higher prices are sending yields lower. Ironically, that could be good news in the short term for those looking to take out a home loan or buy a car, as falling Treasury yields push down consumer interest rates. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
President Trump is also threatening more tariffs if Russian President Vladimir Putin prevents a ceasefire deal with Ukraine from going through. These tariffs wouldn't be on Russia itself. They would be on goods coming into the U.S. from other countries that buy Russian oil. Trump told NBC's Meet the Press these tariffs would be between 25 and 50%. Oil markets have not moved a ton in response. They're just waiting to see what actually happens. Meanwhile, let's see what the rest of the markets are doing. Let's do the numbers. The FTSE in London is down 1.3%. Germany's DAX is down 1.9%. Japan's Nikkei closed down more than 4%. Here in the U.S., Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down in the 6 to 9% range. The Dow futures down 242 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is 4.202%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Certified Financial Planner Professionals. CFP professionals are committed to acting in their clients' best interest. Learn more about CFP professionals at letsmakeaplan.org. And by Commvault. When companies face ransomware and outages, they can recover data and business in just minutes with Commvault.
Up next, are you thinking of starting your own business? In the last 5 years, since the beginning of the pandemic, there's been a burst of entrepreneurship. Last year, there were 5.2 million new business applications in the U.S. My colleague, David Brancaccio, spoke with Yaneli Espinal, host of Marketplace's financial literacy video podcast, Financially Inclined. That is where Yaneli offers money lessons, mainly for younger people, but a lot of what she covers is useful for everyone. One recent episode was on starting your own business, something Yaneli has done herself.
I think I would consider myself what's technically called like a hobby-based entrepreneur. I wasn't really looking to make money or anything. I just wanted to make videos on YouTube about financial literacy because I was learning a lot about it on my own. And then the audience kind of grew. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should formalize this business.
You get a choice. You could be like a Schedule C person who does their business on their regular tax form, or you could become a corporation. You could be a sole proprietor, and then there's the LLC. Give us a sense of the difference.
Yeah, you know what? I think for most people, they're going to look for the easiest way to get started, and that's going to be sole proprietorship. It is definitely the easiest and cheapest option because you don't have to do anything like in terms of formal legal steps. But at the same time, there's zero personal protection. But if you're just starting out and you're just trying to test an idea, it's okay to just start as a sole proprietorship and start learning. And then if you decide later you want to make this more official, you can go ahead then and get like all the protections from an LLC. And that allows you to basically say, hey, if somebody sues the business, they're suing the business, which is a separate entity than me as a person.
You were having a conversation in a recent episode of Financially Inclined with a lawyer and entrepreneur who had some important advice connected to, your time is worth something. Tell me about what you learned.
I was speaking to Sam Vanderwielen. She's an entrepreneur. She's also a lawyer. When Sam was talking to me, one of the key things I learned from her was, hey, take your business seriously. If you have a business and you want it to actually be treated as a real business, then you have to run it like a real business. You have to open up a business bank account separate from your personal bank accounts. You have to separate those business expenses. And then she talks about business insurance and protecting your business, setting up a license if you need a license to run your business and things like that. And her piece of advice that I really loved was that, again, treating your business as a legit business and operating as a legit business involves like contracts and policies. When I go shopping at any major retailer, they make their return policy so clear to me. And that's a way of protecting your business.
You can get help by watching your financial literacy video podcast, Financially Inclined, but also, the United States supposedly encourages entrepreneurship, and there's quite a few resources that people really should consider and consult.
Definitely there are. There's, college entrepreneurship initiatives. There are small business associations at the state level, absolutely. Even at the city level, check initiatives through your mayor's office. I mean, there's just so many in terms of local government because they want to encourage small business in their cities and their states. Local bar associations will help because of all the legalities that you want to make sure you're doing properly with business. Women-owned business or minority-owned business, check for women or minority business associations as well. Or, obviously, if you have a little bit of money set aside that you want to invest in your business, hiring a CPA 100% is super, super important because getting your bookkeeping, getting your accounting, getting your tax stuff set up properly is critical for the longevity of your business.
I know. Once you start getting into like depreciation of assets, I start to need serious help.
I don't want to do that by myself. No, thank you.
All right. Yaneli Espinal hosts Marketplace's financial literacy video podcast, Financially Inclined. Latest episode, Entering Your Entrepreneur Era, is out now, and you can find it on our website, marketplace.org. Yaneli, it's always good to catch up.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Yaneli there was speaking with Marketplace's David Brancaccio. In New York, I'm Sabri Ben-Achour with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.